MJ fans? Woo! We know we all love Michael Jackson. Iconic figure, legendary. He paved the way for so many artists. I look up to him so much. So this is a fun throwback for me. Do you remember the time? I know I do. When we fell in love that time. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. We can add you on a second.
Here we go.
Hey! 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 Woo! Hey! Remember when we fell in love? We're young and innocent then. Do you remember how it all began? You know, we'd stay on the phone at night till dawn. Do you remember?
I bet you remember.
Back in the park,
I bet you remember.
we'd be together all day long.
I bet you remember.
Do you remember?
I bet you remember.
Us holding
I
hands,
bet you remember.
each other's eyes we stare. Sing it! Do you remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time when we first met, boy?
Remember the
Oh,
time when we fell in love.
do you remember the time? Verse 2. Do you remember how we used to talk? You know, we stay on the phone at night till dawn. Do you remember all the things we said? Like, I love you so I'll never let you go. Do you remember?
I bet you remember.
Back in the spring,
I bet you remember.
every morning
you
birds
remember.
would sing.
I bet you remember.
Do you remember
I bet you remember.
those special
I
times?
bet you remember.
You'll just go on
I bet
and
you
on
remember.
like the back of my mind.
Remember the time when we fell in love? Do you remember the time?
When we first met,
Do you
boy.
remember the time
Boy.
when we fell in love?
Do you remember the time? Hey, those sweet memories, they're always dear to me. And boy, no matter what was said, I will never forget what we had now, baby. Break it down. Hey, do you remember the time when we first met, boy?
Remember the time
Boy,
when we fell in love?
do you remember the time? Repeat after me. Do you remember the time? Can y'all sing that? Hey! One more time. Hey! Do you remember the time? Your turn. Remember my baby. Do you remember? Hey, hey, when we first met, boy.
Remember the time
Oh,
when
do
we fell in
you,
love?
do you
Remember
Hey.
the time?
remember? Remember? Do you remember? Remember? Remember the time? Thank y'all. Woo! Woo! MJ, yes. Nice. That was fun. She said Lauren Hill.